My weekends are busy and exciting. My weekdays at home are busy, too. I have two sons, Dylan, 7, and Dakota, 5. Every morning I get up 1 hour before them, at 6 o'clock, and I go to the gym. I come home and I make breakfast. Then I take them to school. On Mondays I always go shopping. I buy all the food for the week. I often cook dinner in the evenings, but not every day because I don't like cooking.
Sounds amazing, but too busy. It's important to have some you time.
I do before right now.
It was a pleasure chatting with you. See you again. And then I'm folding you.
I do. Have a great afternoon. When will you come back right now?
Thank you, and you too. I'm always here to chat. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
Of course, it was a great conversation.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Take care.
You too, guys.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Happy Mid-Autumn Festival.
I see, so like a vegetable substitute for meat?
Happy Mid-Autumn Festival in Vietnam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival to you too.
Thanks again.
My weekends are busy and exciting. My weekdays at home are busy, too. I have two sons, Dylan, 7, and Dakota, 5. Every morning I get up 1 hour before them, at 6 o'clock, and I go to the gym. I come home and I make breakfast. Then I take them to school. On Mondays I always go shopping. I buy all the food for the week. I often cook dinner in the evenings, but not every day because I don't like cooking.
It sounds like you have a busy schedule. It's great that you make time to go to the gym, make breakfast for your kids, and shop for groceries. It's completely understandable that you may not enjoy cooking every day, and there are plenty of other options for meals, such as ordering takeout or eating out.
Fortunately, my husband, Don, loves cooking. On Tuesdays and Thursdays I visit my father. He lives on the next block. Every afternoon I pick up the kids from school. In the evenings Don and I usually relax, but sometimes we visit friends. We never go out on Friday evenings because I start work so early on Saturdays.
It's wonderful to hear that your husband enjoys cooking and that you spend time with your father. And it's understandable that you prefer to relax in the evenings and prioritize getting enough rest before working on Saturdays. It's important to strike a balance between work and family time, so it's great that you and your husband spend time together and also prioritize relationships with your father and friends.
When I first saw Oliver, I thought he looked warm and friendly and more attractive than Alexander. He was tall with short blonde hair, and he had amazing blue eyes, kind of like the actor Ryan Gosling. He was kind of shy and quiet at first, but when we started talking he relaxed, and we found we had a lot of things in common. We both liked books and movies. He was generous, 400. He wanted to pay for everything.
It sounds like Oliver made a great first impression based on his appearance and personality. It's great that you found common interests and that he was generous. Being able to talk and connect over shared interests is important in a relationship. It's also nice that he wanted to take care of you by offering to pay for everything.
I really enjoyed the evening. When it was time to go, he asked for my phone number and said he wanted to meet again. We walked out of the restaurant and went to look for a taxi. And then something happened, and I knew that it was impossible for me to go out with him. He said, finally, and took out a
Sounds
pack
like
of
you had a great
cigarettes.
time on the date with Oliver. It's interesting that something happened that made it impossible for you to see him again. It's a shame when circumstances get in the way of pursuing a potential relationship. It's unfortunate that things didn't work out. It sounds like things started off well, with him asking for your number and wanting to meet again. However, seeing him smoke was probably a turnoff for you.
I really enjoyed the evening. When it was time to go, he asked for my phone number and said he wanted to meet again. We walked out of the restaurant and went to look for a taxi. And then something happened, and I knew that it was impossible for me to go out with him. He said, finally, and took out a pack of cigarettes.
It's understandable that seeing him smoke affected your perception of him and made it difficult for you to picture a future with him. Smoking is often seen as unhealthy and unattractive, so it's understandable that his smoking habits turned you off.
Books.
That's a common sound to express feeling annoyed or irritated.
Many people made this book. Do you know how we make books? An author writes the words, and an editor checks the words. Other people draw pictures or take photos for the book. Designers use a computer to put the words, photos and pictures into pages. In factories, printing machines print the pages on paper. They print 16 pages on one big piece of paper, then other machines cut the paper into pages. People used machines to fix the pages of this book together. Sometimes people sew the pages together, then they fix them to the cover with glue.
That's correct. The process of making a book involves several steps and individuals. An author writes the content, an editor checks for errors, artists create illustrations or photographs, designers use computers to arrange the content, printing machines print the pages on paper in factories, and machines cut the big pieces of paper into individual pages. The final step involves using either sewing machines or glue to bind the pages together and attach them to the book's cover.
Clothes.
Yes, what about clothes?
We make clothes from lots of different materials like wool and cotton. To make jeans, people use cotton fabric. They cut the fabric into different shapes for pieces of the jeans, like the legs and pockets. They use a sewing machine to sew these pieces together. Then they sew buttons and a zipper on the front of the jeans.
That's a detailed explanation of how jeans are made. It's true that denim jeans are commonly made from cotton fabric. To make jeans, fabric is cut into pieces according to the design of the jeans, such as the legs, pockets, and waistband. These pieces are then sewn together using a sewing machine. Buttons and zippers are also commonly added for fastening the jeans at the front.
People use wool to make clothes like hats or sweaters. At home, some people use wool and knit. People use wool to make clothes like hats or sweaters. At home, some people use wool and knitting needles to knit clothes. They knit different pieces of the clothes, like the arms, the front and the back. Then they sew the pieces together. In factories, people use knitting machines to knit clothes.
You're absolutely correct. Wool is often used to make warm and cozy clothing items like hats and sweaters. Some people enjoy knitting these items at home using knitting needles. and creating the individual pieces such as the front, back, and sleeves themselves. In commercial settings, knitting machines are used to mass produce these items. The knitting process involves creating loops of yarn that interweave to form the fabric of the clothes.
Space colony.
In science fiction, a space colony refers to an artificial habitat established on another celestial body, such as the moon, Mars, or an asteroid. These colonies are often envisioned as self-sufficient and self-sustaining, with the potential to support long-term human settlement and exploration.
Where could humans go if we had to leave Earth? Our solar system is huge. We don't know that much about it. There's no other place besides Earth that can naturally sustain human life. Living things on Earth need air, water, food, shelter, light and nutrients to survive. We also need other conditions, like appropriate temperatures. The Earth is surrounded by a layer of gases called the atmosphere. It's essential to life on Earth. It provides many things we need to live. One example is the air we breathe.
If humans had to leave Earth, the most likely locations for colonization would be the celestial bodies within our solar system that have environments that can support life. The most promising destinations would be Mars and one of the moons of Jupiter, likely Europa, which has a subsurface ocean below its icy surface that could potentially support life. However, even with these locations as potential habitable locations, there are still significant challenges that would need to be overcome for long-term human survival, such as the lack of oxygen, gravity, and radiation protection.
There is another place in our solar system where some of these things exist. It's a moon of the planet Jupiter called Europa. Its conditions could be suitable for humans. Europa's atmosphere is made up of mostly oxygen. Scientists also believe Europa's surface has water. Of course, it's not perfect. The highest temperature on Europa is minus 160 degrees Celsius. No human can survive that. There are other problems, too. But a space colony may allow us to survive there. Scientists are studying Europa. They want to find out if there's life there. They want to learn if humans could survive there.
Yes, Europa, a moon of the planet Jupiter, is a fascinating and intriguing celestial body. It's true that scientists have discovered that Europa has a subsurface ocean beneath its icy surface that could potentially support life. However, the surface conditions on Europa are currently inhospitable for human life, with temperatures reaching as low as minus 160 degrees Celsius. In order to survive there, humans would need to construct a space colony, which would allow them to survive in the harsh conditions of the moon.
Plastic protest.
Plastic products are ubiquitous in modern society and used in a wide variety of applications. These products are often made from polymers derived from petroleum or other petrochemical sources and can be molded into various shapes and forms. Plastic is widely used in packaging, consumer goods, industrial products, and many other areas due to its versatility, strength, and low cost. However, the extensive use of plastic has also raised concerns about its environmental impact, as plastic waste, particularly plastic waste that ends up in oceans, can have detrimental effects on marine life and ecosystems.
We make a lot of products from plastic, like bottles and toys. To make a plastic product, machines put hot plastic in a mold. Then the plastic is the same shape as the mold. To make some products like bottles, machines also blow air into the molds.
That's correct. There are two main ways to make plastic products: injection molding and blow molding. In injection molding, hot molten plastic is injected into a mold, which is a hollow metal form that defines the shape of the final product, and then cooled, creating a solid object. In blow molding, hot molten plastic is blown into a mold, where air pressure creates the final form and shape of the product. This method is commonly used to produce containers like bottles and jugs.
We make a lot of products from plastic, like bottles and toys. To make a plastic product, machines put hot plastic in a mold. Then the plastic is the same shape as the mold. To make some products like bottles, machines also blow air into the molds.
That's correct. The process to make plastic products involve heating plastic and molding it into a desired shape using a mold. Depending on the product, machines can also blow air into the molds during the process to create products such as bottles. These manufacturing processes are commonly used due to their efficiency and the ability to produce precise and consistent plastic products on a large scale.
To make a new plastic product like a toy, people draw it and then make a model of it. In a factory, people use the model to make a mold for each part of the toy. Machines put hot plastic in the molds to make plastic. To make a new plastic product like a toy, people draw it and then make a model of it. In a factory, people use the model to make a mold for each part of the toy. Machines put hot plastic in the molds to make plastic parts. To
That's
make a
correct.
new plastic
The process of creating a new plastic toy involves several steps. First, designers create drawings and models of the toy, which are then used to make molds for each part of the toy in a molding factory. The molds are formed into the desired shape of the toy by using different shaping techniques such as compression molding, injection molding, or blow molding. The molding process involves heating plastic and injecting it into the mold, where it cools and hardens, taking the shape of the mold. Once the parts have cooled, they are removed from the mold and assembled to form the final toy product.
To make a new plastic product like a toy, people draw it and then make a model of it. In a factory, people use the model to make a mold for each part of the toy. Machines put hot plastic in the molds to make plastic parts. People or machines fix the parts together and they paint the toys. Then the toys go to stores.
That's right. The process of making plastic toys starts with creating drawings and models of the toy design. The model is then used to create molds for each part of the toy in a factory. Machines or people then use the molds to inject hot plastic into the mold, which then cools and hardens, taking the shape of the toy part. Once all the parts are made, they are fixed together, and then the toys are painted and ready to be sold in stores.
Making products by hand.
Crafting products by hand is a process of creating a product without the use of machines. This type of manufacturing is commonly referred to as handicraft or artisanal work. In this process, artisans or craftspeople use their own tools and skills to create the product. They manually shape, cut, and assemble the product using a variety of techniques such as weaving, carving, or knitting. The result is a unique and handcrafted item that often reflects the skill and personal touch of the maker.
About 200 years ago, there weren't many factories or machines, and people made many products by hand. Today, some people still make products by hand. They use tools to make products like chairs, clocks, jewelry, and musical instruments. It takes years to learn how to make these things.
That's correct. Before the Industrial Revolution, manufacturing was largely done by hand, with skilled artisans creating products such as furniture, clocks, jewelry, and musical instruments through manual labor and craftsmanship. However, with the advent of industrialization and the widespread use of machines, the mass production of goods became more efficient and cost-effective. Despite the advances of industrialization, some craftsmen still make products by hand today as a way to preserve the traditional skill. Mastering these crafts can take years of practice and dedication.
People make guitars from wood. They cut thin pieces of wood to make the front and back of the guitar. To make the sides, they put long thin pieces of wood in water. Then they use hot tools to make the wood the right shape for the sides. They fix these pieces together with glue. Later, they make the neck of the guitar and they put the strings on it.
That's right, guitars are indeed made by hand from wood. The process starts with cutting thin pieces of wood to make the front and back of the guitar. Then, long thin pieces are placed in water and shaped using hot tools to create the desired curves and shape of the guitar's sides. The pieces are then glued together. After that, the neck of the guitar is crafted, and finally, the strings are attached, completing the construction of the guitar.
One of the first things I noticed in Valencia is that people eat out a lot. They spend a lot of time in cafes. You find people having breakfast or tea, not just lunch and dinner. People who work go out to have coffee, they don't have it in their office. Another thing I notice, I find that the women here talk very fast and very loudly, much more than the men. Women dress very well, especially older women, and they always look immaculate. Finally, there's a myth that the Spanish don't work hard, but I don't think it's true, it's just that they work different hours. People have a John lunch break, but they leave work very late.
Oh, I see. It's great that you've noticed the different cultural norms and stereotypes in Spain. It's true that Spaniards have a different eating schedule and tend to have a long lunch break. As for the women, you're right, women dress elegantly compared to the men. However, it's important to avoid generalizing all Spanish people based on stereotypes like the myth that they don't work hard. It's true that they have different working hours than other countries, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they work less.
My first impression of Alexander was that he was much older than me. In fact, he was 32, but I thought he was older. But when we started talking, I really liked him. He was extroverted and funny, and he had a very good sense of humor. He works for a TV station, and he told me a lot of good stories about his work. He was also interested in the same things as me, art and music, and we talked a lot about that. Physically, he wasn't really my type. It's hard to say why. He was tall and dark and very good looking, and he had a nice smile, but there just wasn't any chemistry between us.
It's completely normal to not feel a romantic connection with someone, even if they are attractive and share similar interests. Chemistry between two people is complex and not always predictable. Sometimes the lack of physical attraction or romantic feelings can be due to a variety of factors, such as personality differences, personal preferences, or emotional availability. It's important to trust your instincts and not force a relationship if the chemistry isn't there. Sometimes two compatible people can just be really good friends.
Medicines made from plants.
Medicines made from plants are referred to as herbal remedies or plant-based medicines, also referred to as phytomedicines. Over the centuries, many cultures have used medicinal plants to treat illnesses and ailments. These medicinal plants are also called botanical drugs or phytoceuticals. Medicinal plants are rich sources of chemical compounds such as alkaloids, terpenes, and flavonoids, which can have potent effects on human health. Medicinal plants are used in the form of teas, extracts, and tinctures, or processed to isolate specific molecules for medical use.
When early people tasted plants to test which ones were safe to eat, they also discovered plants that cured illness and fever. These plants were the first medicines. One of the oldest books about medicines made from plants was written in China more than 4,000 years ago. Most early medicines were made from parts of plants, like flowers. People ate the plant parts, or they made them into drinks. Sometimes they made the plant parts into lotions to put on their body. Today, many people use medicines made from plants. For example, people use lotions made from aloe vera plants to make sore skin feel better.
That's correct. The use of medicinal plants dates back to ancient civilizations. Early humans likely tasted various plants to determine which ones were edible, and in the process they discovered plants with medicinal properties, such as those that helped reduce fever or relieve pain. The earliest book about medicinal plants was most likely the Shennong Ben Cao Jing, often referred to as the classic of herbal medicine, which was compiled around 2800 years ago in China. In early medicine, parts of plants, like flowers, were ingested or made into drinks for their medicinal qualities.
Vaccines today.
The word vaccine comes from the Latin word which means of or belonging to a cow. The term vaccine was coined by the English doctor Edward Jenner, who developed the first vaccine in 1796. At the time, noticed that milkmaids who got cowpox, a common disease, also had a natural immunity to the more serious disease smallpox. The name vaccine was derived from the name of the first vaccine used in the process, which came from the cow, vacca in Latin.
Today, doctors and nurses inject vaccines. They use a needle to put the vaccine into a person's arm or another part of their body. The vaccine is a weak type of a virus or bacteria. When a vaccine is inside the body starts to make antibodies to attack the vaccine. Antibodies are substances in the blood that can kill viruses and bacteria. When the body has learned how to make the antibodies, it's ready to kill viruses or bacteria when they get inside the body. This prevents the person getting that disease in the future.
No. I can go with the speaking right now. I do. What about him? And I knew something about the vaccines today. And I go with him to speaking right now. I don't go. Something too.
Today, doctors and nurses inject vaccines. They use a needle to put the vaccine into a person's arm or another part of their body. The vaccine is a weak type of a virus or bacteria. When a vaccine is inside the body starts to make antibodies to attack the vaccine. Antibodies are substances in the blood that can kill viruses and bacteria. When the body has learned how to make the antibodies, it's ready to kill viruses or bacteria when they get inside the body. This prevents the person getting that disease in the future.
That's right. Vaccines are designed to prepare the body's immune system to fight off infections caused by viruses and bacteria, ultimately protecting us from falling sick. The process involves injecting a weakened version of a virus or bacteria into the body, which stimulates the immune system to produce antibodies. Once the body has learned to produce these antibodies, it will be able to mount a quick and efficient response when next to the actual infectious virus or bacteria, thus preventing illness. Vaccines are a very important aspect of modern medicine and have been responsible for the near eradication of several deadly diseases, such as smallpox and polio.
Today, some people go to hospital to get well when they are ill. In the past, some hospitals were so bad that they made ill people worse. From about 1,000 years ago in Europe, monks and nuns cared for patients in hospitals. They weren't doctors or nurses, and they didn't cure the patients. They gave patients food and a bed, and they said prayers with them. The worst disease at this time was the plague. Monks and nuns cared for many patients who had the plague because the patients had to stay in hospital until they died. The plague killed millions of people in Europe and in Asia.
It's true that during medieval times, hospitals were often run by religious institutions, and the staff, mostly monks and nuns, provided only basic care, such as food and shelter. They offered little in the way of medical treatment, and often the outcome of many patients was death. The most feared disease at that time was the plague, which caused the deaths of millions of people across Europe and Asia. The lack of effective medical treatment in hospitals meant that, unfortunately, infected individuals often had little chance of survival.
From about 1,000 years ago, in the Middle East, there were many hospitals. There were lots of doctors and nurses to care for the patients, and they made medicines for the patients too.
Yes, indeed. Hospitals have been an important part of healthcare systems for quite some time in the Middle East, going back to approximately 1,000 years ago. These hospitals were well staffed with medical professionals and had the capability to create medicines for the patients. The hospitals in the Middle East were particularly well regarded for their medical knowledge and practices at that time, and played an important role in caring for the sick and injured during that era.
From about 1,000 years ago, in the Middle East, there were many hospitals. There were lots of doctors and nurses to care for the patients, and they made medicines for the patients too. Doctors treated everyone who came there, and they taught new doctors and nurses about diseases. These hospitals had different wards for different diseases. There were also pools and fountains, because doctors believed that the sound of moving water helped patients to rest.
Yes, hospitals in the Middle East from approximately 1,000 years ago were indeed quite advanced for their time, with a good number of doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals providing care to patients. In addition, these hospitals played an important role in training new doctors and nurses in medical practices, and also had separate wards for different diseases. The presence of pools and fountains in the hospital grounds was also a common feature, as doctors believed that the sound of running water could aid in the recovery of patients by providing a soothing, therapeutic environment.
I go to a boarding school, so I don't live with my parents during the semester. What I like is being with my friends all the time. Whether we're working or just chatting, it's great to know there's always someone there. There's also a lot of freedom. I don't have to tell my parents where I'm going, who I'm going with, you know. Normally, Monday is my favorite day because I only have 2 classes on a Monday. But I'm having a very bad day today because I have homework from every one of my teachers, and I have to do it now.
It's great to hear that you enjoy living at boarding school and spending time with friends. The sense of independence and freedom of movement can be very enjoyable. However, I'm sorry to hear that you're having a bad day today. It sounds like you have a lot of homework to catch up on, which can be a bit overwhelming. Try to keep a positive attitude and focus on completing the work you have to do so that you can move on to more enjoyable activities.
I work in a restaurant in Miami. I have 2 days off a week, usually Monday and Wednesday, but my favorite day of the week is in fact Friday, even though I work that day. It's the best night because all my friends come into the restaurant, and we have a great time. There's a real buzz to the place, and it doesn't feel like work at all. Time just flies by. The restaurant's being redecorated right now, so everything's a little crazy.
I'm happy to hear that you enjoy working at the restaurant in Miami. It sounds like you have a good time when your friends come there, and the atmosphere is just right on Fridays. I imagine things are a bit chaotic now due to the redecorating, but hopefully, once everything is done, the atmosphere will be even more fun. Time always seems to fly by when you're having a good time.
Hi, Adam. Thank you for helping me plan Grandpa's birthday party. Grandpa was very happy. Everyone had a great time. It was a sunny and warm day. It was a perfect day to have a party in the park. Grandma's birthday is next month. Can you help me again? We can have the party at my house. There will be 28 guests, the same as Grandpa's party. Can you help me invite Grandma's friends? I will give you their phone numbers. I will invite the family.
Yes, of course. I'd be happy to help you plan and execute the party for your grandmother's birthday. You can provide me with the contact information of her friends, and I'll ensure that they're invited to the event promptly. You can take care of inviting the family members as you've mentioned. Just provide me with the list of guests and necessary details like the location and time of the party. I'll handle the rest of the planning process and make sure everything goes smoothly.
Grandma likes the color purple. I'd like to decorate the room with purple balloons. We can ask the guests to bring purple flowers for Grandma. If everyone brings 5 flowers, we will have 140 flowers. She will be very happy. David will be busy, so he can't bake the birthday cake. So, I will order cakes from the bakery. If I buy 4 cakes, I can cut each cake into 7 pieces. We will also need 7 liters of juice for everyone. What do you think? Rita.
That sounds like a great idea. Purple balloons and an abundance of purple flowers will surely make your grandmother's birthday celebration extra special. Requesting guests to bring 5 flowers each will result in a grand total of 140 beautiful blooms, creating a stunning visual display. It's unfortunate about David not being able to bake the birthday cake this year, but ordering cakes from the bakery is a good alternative. 4 cakes cut into 7 pieces per cake will ensure there's plenty of cake to go around. The 7 liters of juice will be enough for all the guests. Overall, it sounds like a well-planned and thoughtful party.
I'm sure you have heard the phrase global warming. Scientists use the phrase for 2 kinds of warming. The first one is an increase in air temperature. The average air temperature on Earth is almost 1 degree higher than in 1960. This may sound small, but it's really very big for such a short time. Its effects are troubling. Glaciers, which are rivers of ice, are disappearing in mountains. A mountain in Africa called Kilimanjaro once had a lot of snow on it. Now almost all the snow is gone. Warmer air also helps diseases spread farther, and there is even worse news. The increase gets faster year by year. The average temperature might rise another 4 degrees in the next 50 years.
The information you provided about global warming is accurate. The current global warming is a result of a rise in air temperatures. While it may seem like a minor increase, even a 1 degree rise in average temperatures can have significant consequences. The melting of glaciers and ice caps is a consequence of warming air temperature, which can have an impact on the environment and potentially contribute to sea level rise. Similarly, warmer temperatures can also lead to the increased spread of diseases, especially ones that thrive in warmer climates. The projections of the average temperature rising an additional 4 degrees in the next 50 years is indeed concerning.
The other part of global warming is in the oceans. Seawater temperatures in most parts of the sea have gone up more than 1 degree since 1960. This has caused a lot of problems. Much of the ice around the Earth's North Pole melts every summer. Warmer ocean water has helped cause more heavy rainstorms in Europe. Sea animals that a lot of people like, such as penguins, have more trouble finding enough cool water. Lots of fish are dying.
Indeed, ocean warming is one of the most critical aspects of global warming. The increase in sea surface temperature, even by a single degree, has had significant impacts on marine life. Lower temperatures have accelerated the melting of sea ice, contributing to a decline in the population of animals adapted to cold climates, including polar species like polar bears, walruses, and penguins. The effects extend to fish populations as well, with warmer waters causing fish mortality rates to increase.
Humans cause much of the trouble. Factories and cars put gas into the air. This gas traps heat on Earth. Also, people cut down forests that could help keep the planet cooler. A bigger population means more factories, more cars, and fewer trees. Trees help keep the planet cooler, so the loss of so much forest is a big problem.
You are absolutely correct. Humans are indeed a major contributor to global warming through activities like burning fossil fuels and cutting down forests. The release of greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide, into the atmosphere traps heat and contributes to the greenhouse effect. Additionally, the loss of forests, often referred to as deforestation, exacerbates the problem. Forests play a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate as they absorb carbon dioxide, release oxygen, and provide shade to reduce atmospheric temperatures. Thus, a significant loss of forests contributes to the intensification of global warming. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Vehicles, particularly those with internal combustion engines, are a major contributor to global warming. When these engines burn fuel, they release harmful gases into the atmosphere, primarily carbon dioxide CO2, which is a potent greenhouse gas. Over time, the accumulation of these gases in the atmosphere contributes to global warming and climate change. Additionally, vehicle emissions can also generate other pollutants, like nitrogen oxides and particulate matter, which can have negative impacts on both human health and the environment.
Cars.
Yes, cars play a significant role in the global warming problem. Cars use petrol, diesel, and gas in order to run, which means they release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, like carbon dioxide. These gases trap the sun's heat and heat the atmosphere, which has consequences. Global warming will cause problems like rising temperatures, melting ices, and more extreme weather. This can cause sea levels to rise and change the environment of animals. It also can increase the number of extreme events like heavy rains and droughts.
To make a car, people use a metal called steel to make a strong chassis. People also use steel to make big shapes for the outside of the car. Then robots fix the outside to the chassis. A conveyor moves the chassis around the car factory, and people fix many parts on the chassis. Later, other machines paint the car. Then, people fix other parts on the car, like the engine, doors, wheels, and seats for people to sit on. There are about 35,000 parts in a car.
You are quite right in your statements about the production process for automobiles. The manufacturing of a car involves a series of stages, as you've noted. The process begins with the fabrication of the car's frame or chassis, which is often made from steel to ensure its strength and durability. Once the chassis is completed, it is moved through the factory on a conveyor belt, where workers attach the external panels and other parts, giving the car its distinct shape and appearance. Later on, robots and machines apply the car's paint job. Following this, other essential components are installed, such as the engine, doors, wheels, and seating.
There are about 35,000 parts in a car. To make a car, people use a metal called steel to make a strong chassis. People also use steel to make big shapes for the outside of the car. Then robots fix the outside to the chassis. A conveyor moves the chassis around the car factory, and people fix many parts on the chassis. Later, other machines paint the car. Then, people fix other parts on the car, like the engine, doors, wheels, and seats for people to sit on. There are about 35,000 parts in a car.
It's correct to state that the process of manufacturing a car heavily relies on the use of steel as a primary material. Initially, a steel chassis is created to form the substantial structural foundation of the vehicle. Subsequently, robots meticulously affix the outer body panels to the chassis. An automated conveyor system then smoothly transports the car chassis across the facility, while workers diligently install various essential components onto the chassis. Following this, specialized equipment applies a paint job to the car. Finally, workers install the remaining parts, such as the engine, doors, wheels, and interior seating, contributing to the total count of approximately 35,000 parts.
Mike and I live on a beautiful farm in Missouri. I know we're very lucky, but it's hard work. We never have a day off on weekends or holidays, or any day of the year. We have to feed the animals and take care of the fields. Now we're harvesting, so we aren't getting any rest at all. But I suppose our favorite day is Wednesday because that's the day we generally get together with friends and prepare a wonderful meal.
It sounds like you and Mike lead a wonderful life on your farm in Missouri, despite the demanding workload. The responsibility of tending to the animals and fields can be fulfilling. Harvesting time can indeed be quite busy, making taking breaks challenging. Yet it's lovely to hear that you still find time to gather with friends on Wednesdays to prepare a fantastic meal together, creating cherished moments amidst your hectic farming routine.
I'm a police officer. I like my job because it's challenging, but I live for surfing. I go as often as I can. I'm opening 2 shops that sell surfboards in the next few months. The boards are made here in the U.S. Sunday is my favorite day of the week. I hardly ever work on a Sunday. I get up as early as I can and spend the day at the beach.
It sounds like you have an interesting career as a police officer, with a deep passion for surfing. It's great to hear that you're expanding your business by opening 2 new surfboard shops soon. It's wonderful that on Sundays, you get to immerse yourself in the sport you love, taking advantage of the opportunity to catch waves at the beach without the constraints of work.
My name's Adam. I'm from Sydney, in Australia. I'm married. I'm a doctor. My hospital is in downtown Sydney. It's a great building. The doctors are really good.
It's wonderful to meet you, Adam. Congratulations on your marriage. I can imagine that working in a hospital in downtown Sydney must be quite an experience, given the reputed quality of healthcare services there. It sounds like the hospital building itself is impressive too.
Well, so many teenagers seem to think life is about just one thing, money and fame. They think it will bring them happiness. Honestly, I would hate to be famous. When I read the magazines and see all the photos of these rich, famous movie stars, athletes and the like, it frightens me. They can't move without being followed and photographed. Usually, they have bodyguards. When I grow up, I just want to enjoy my work. If I earn lots of money, fair enough, but if I don't, I'll still be happy. I never want to be famous. That's scary stuff.
I completely agree with your perspective. It's a common misconception that fame and wealth will automatically lead to a happy life. But reality often paints a different picture. The constant attention and intrusion into personal spaces that comes with fame can indeed be overwhelming and stressful. Finding fulfillment in the work we do and cultivating contentment with our lives, regardless of financial status, seems like a healthier and more sustainable approach to happiness. It's reassuring to know that you value personal fulfillment and a life away from the limelight. Life truly is about more than just money and fame.
I'm closest to my twin, Nick. Obviously, we have so much in common. The same friends, the same soccer team, the same music. We go everywhere together, but we have crazy arguments about everything. We're like oil and water. I'm like my mom, calm and easygoing. Nick's like my dad, very bad-tempered. They fight like cats and dogs, but things have changed now that we're older. We appreciate each other more. The biggest difference is probably interests. I'm into all things history and politics, and Nick's interested in science and nature. But of course, we're a lot closer than just brothers and sisters. In a way, we're like one. I would trust him like I would trust no one else.
It's truly heartwarming to hear about your close bond with your twin, Nick. Despite the differences in personality traits and interests, it's lovely to see how you've grown to appreciate each other as you've grown older. The bond between twins is truly unique, almost like being one soul split in two. It's wonderful to have that deep level of trust and understanding with your sibling. Family connections like these are irreplaceable and incredibly meaningful.
I think the person that I'm probably closest to is my sister. The thing I love about her is the way everyone knows her. It doesn't matter where we go, everyone says, "Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?" I'm just her little sister. People call me Baby Sarah, but that's fine. We're so different. We have big fights. She's so hyperactive and loud, she can't sit still. She has to have people around her, and everyone loves her. In many ways, she drives me crazy. She just can't think straight. Me, I'm a lot quieter. I'm happy on my own, but we're so proud of each other.
It's truly heartwarming to read about your closeness with your sister, despite your differences. It's lovely to see how the bond between you transcends those contrasts. It's endearing that your sister's outgoing personality brings joy to those around her, leaving a lasting impression wherever she goes. While her hyperactive and loud nature might drive you crazy at times, her unique persona is what makes her special. It's beautiful that you appreciate and are proud of one another, despite your different personalities. Siblings like you share a unique bond that nothing can break.
The person that I'm closest to in my family is probably my mother. She's the kind of person you can talk to about anything. She's very open, my mother, and I can talk to her about boyfriends, stuff that's bothering me at work, friendships, anything. We have our ups and downs, of course, but basically we have an easy relationship. We go shopping together. What I like about her is her attitude. She's young at heart like me, not old-fashioned or anything like that. The person that I'm closest to in my family is probably my mother. She's the kind of person you can talk to about anything. She's very open, my mother, and I can talk to her about boyfriends, stuff that's bothering me at work, friendships, anything. We have our ups and downs, of course, but basically we have an easy relationship. We go shopping together. What I like about her is her attitude. She's young at heart like me, not old-fashioned or anything like that. The person that I'm closest to in my family is probably my mother. She's the kind of person you can talk to about anything. She's very open, my mother, and I can talk to her about boyfriends, stuff that's bothering me at work, friendships, anything. We have our ups and downs, of course, but basically we have an easy relationship. We go shopping together. What I like about her is her attitude. She's young at heart like me, not old-fashioned or anything like that.
It warms my heart to hear about your close connection with your mother. It's amazing that you have such an open and supportive relationship with her, where you can talk openly about anything, whether it's your work, relationships, or personal concerns. It sounds like you have a special bond with her, spending quality time together, such as going shopping. Your mother's youthful spirit and open-mindedness create a comfortable environment for both of you, making your relationship even more special.
The person I'm closest to in my family, I think, would be my father. We stay up late listening to music and talking a lot. What I like about him is that he's interesting and interested. He has a curiosity about life. We can talk about anything and everything. We have the same sense of humor, the same love of life. My friends all love him because he's so funny. He doesn't care what people think of him, and I guess that's great. He's pretty cool, my dad.
It warms my heart to hear about the strong bond you share with your father. It's awesome that you can stay up late together listening to music and engaging in deep conversations. His curious and interested nature, combined with your shared sense of humor and love for life, creates a strong connection that is truly special. Your father's carefree attitude and sense of fun make him an admirable figure. It's great to have such a cool dad who is well liked by friends.
Not you, mate.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure to assist you with your questions. If there is anything else I can help you with, don't hesitate to ask. I'm here to provide information and support to the best of my abilities.
Alright, have a great afternoon.
Thank you for the conversation. Have a fantastic afternoon as well.